So you mentioned the DMV a couple of times. So what's the deal with the DMV? I know there's a separate thing that goes on with them as well, right? Like, so.
Yeah, a DMV case kicks off two completely separate processes. One is a court process where there's possible jail time, possible fines. We're arguing about lengths of alcohol classes and Mothers Against Drunk Driving and hospital and morgue programs, all those kinds of things that can come from the court, probation, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
The DMV will run its own completely separate process, has very little to do with the court process. There's very little we can do in court that'll impact the DMV, and there's nothing we can do at DMV that will impact the court. Well, almost nothing. So, I mean, I could subpoena the police officer to testify at DMV and I can get a transcript from that and use it in court, but there's nothing in terms of a result at the DMV that will have an impact on what happens in court. The DMV wants to suspend your driver's license.
Okay.
On your standard routine, under 0.20, first time DUI without a refusal, we're looking at a 4-month suspension from the DMV.
Wow.
If we can't find a way to beat it. Now, that driver is going to be eligible for an ignition interlock device restricted license immediately. So there's no delay. There's no missed driving time at all. The key thing to remember, though, is once somebody's arrested for a DUI, they only have 10 days to request a DMV hearing.
Okay.
Otherwise, after 30 days, their license is automatically suspended. So that 4-month suspension will go into effect 30 days after the date of arrest, unless you request a hearing. So within that 10 days, we request a hearing, and then they set a hearing 3 or 4 months out. You get a valid temporary license until we get the results of the hearing.
Okay. So
now, in that time period, I'm going to send out subpoenas to the law enforcement agency, to the crime lab. We're going to start gathering the evidence, getting the body camera footage, getting the dashboard camera footage, getting the maintenance and calibration records for the blood or breath testing devices, and start figuring out what defenses we might have and ways that we might, be able to save the driver's license. And it's the same stuff we're going to end up ultimately needing for the court case.